Hello, Nissy here. So I thought I would do a create with me video. For my next journal, I want to do a nature journal, but I want to make a pouch or a holder for it to go into, a bit like a tablet case, I suppose. So I was trying to think of ways of how I could do it so that it looked like paper but was still quite sturdy and wouldn't tear. And I came across something called fabric paper, which is basically this. So this is what I made. It's just paper kind of collaged onto some fabric. It's just some thin fabric and it's just collaged on, really. It's quite thick, but it still bends, and I think you wouldn't be able to tear it at all. So I thought I would use that to make a pouch out of. So I've made one side and I needed to make another, so I thought I would do a video on how I did it. Now this one's quite thick and it does bend, but it's because I've used Edith Holden pages and music paper, quite thick paper, so it's quite thick. But it does bend and I can still sew on it and I can stamp on it and paint on it and whatever. But if you made it using tissue paper and napkins, it's really quite thin and it bends more. But like I say, I wanted it to form my journal, so I've done it in a theme that I wanted. So basically I've used a muslin type fabric. It's not type, it is muslin basically, because it's cheap and it's thin. And I've taped it down to my desk. And what I've also done is I got a it's just here. I can't get it. It was just a page that the filed of things that you put in the files, the plastic folders. I just cut it in half. I taped this to my table and then taped the fabric on top because I don't want to glue it to my table, obviously, and when it's dry it peels off this plastic really well. So I taped the plastic down and then I've taped my fabric on top. Now I've then picked the pieces that I want to use. I've got some images from Edith Holden books, some old printed paper. Edith Holden printed paper, her font's quite big, so that's why I've included another one. Some music papers and some doilies. Now I've inked the edges of mine just because I like it. You don't have to, it's personal choice. I would suggest though that you do tear little pieces, because the little pieces are good for filling in the gaps. So anyway, I've got some Edith Holden ones. They've all been distressed. Put them to the side. Now the way I am going to do it is I'm going to glue each individual piece as I lay it down, because it's quite thick paper, and to me I could take my time over it then. If I was doing tissue paper or napkins and thin stuff, then you want to put a layer of glue onto the fabric first and then lay your napkins and things on top. So for this I'm using a mixture of Mod Podge and water, 2/3 Mod Podge, 1/3 water. If I can get the tub open. There we go. Now, like I say, if I was doing napkins or tissue paper, thin stuff like that, you can't individually. You would just lay your glue on like so, and then you would put your image on top of it, your paper or your napkin on top, and then glue over it. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to coat each piece quite generously. This is messy, but it is going to be fun. Then I'm going to push it down and then just go over the top. And then basically you're just going to collage your images, or your however you want it really. Lay it down, smooth it over. Of course, I don't know if this will make a good pouch. I hope it will. Some of the inks will run. If you are going to stamp on this, I would suggest, well, I wouldn't suggest, I'll tell you, if you're not using StazOn, you can use any ink to stamp on these. But if you're going to use a cheaper ink that's not a StazOn, then you need to kind of dry it with a hot gun, and then just dab it a little bit with a kitchen towel, and then it doesn't rub off, it stays on. So you don't need StazOn to do this at all. I like messy fun. I've picked a theme, but you don't have to pick a theme. See how the ink's going off it a bit, but it doesn't matter. I personally think it adds to the distress of it. I got this lovely little sketch from one of the Edith Holden books that I wanted to add. I hope it works. And just randomly glue them on, overlap them. I've got some doilies that I think the doilies look quite nice. Oh. Well, let's do it that way round. So then you can see some of the doily on it. Oh no, wrong bit. Not doing it on the fabric, doing it on the paper. Generous amounts. Let's put some colour on. Now I'm going to be using my fabric that way up, but I still like things the wrong way up, or sideways, not upside down so much as sideways. So I'm going to put a sideways flower there, I think. Generous amounts of glue, especially on the edges, around the edges. I might want to make sure it's covered. Yeah, put that there. See, when you put it on the glue onto the fabric like this, you have to move fairly quick because obviously it's going to dry. Doing it this way can add a bit more detail. Let's try a bit of this paper here, I think. And I think I will put a butterfly in the top. And maybe some poppies. Down here. some music paper there. Hoping this is going to make a nice page. I love doing paper collaging, it's so relaxing. And you don't really have to think too much about it, you could just shove it anywhere, really. Let me see, let's do a bit of this here. Put some music paper up there as well, I think. I'm just generally going to cover the whole. I mean, mine's themed, but obviously you don't have to do it themed. You can do anything you like. And like I say, you can paint on it afterwards. Stamp on it. Sew on it. It's quite durable. Shall we put another flower there, I think? I just keep brushing over the other edges. Let's do a doily up here. I would suggest that you don't go over the tape if you can help it. I don't know if it comes off or not. I haven't tried it. And let's do a little butterfly there as well, in that gap. Of course, it doesn't matter if you have little spaces like that. You can fill them in if you want, but the fabric just shows through, which is fine. Let's do this one here. Yeah, I'm going to do it there. Try to not go over the tape. And shall we do a butterfly? Yeah, I'm going to do a butterfly there. I know there's not a gap there, but I don't think it matters if you layer it. Obviously, the more paper you layer on, the thicker your fabric is going to be. Put some music paper in. Okay, see, this is where I like the fact that I could take my time, because now this piece is too big, so I can just tear it off, quickly ink the edge, and then I can glue that bit down. Where it is a lot more rushed when you have to coat your whole fabric on first. Going a little bit on the tape there, but I don't think that will matter. Let's put some paper up here. And I'm going to tear this one. prepare it. Ink it up quickly. This is why you need all those little bits, because now you come to filling in all these little gaps. There. Put a bit, no, what I'll do is I'll put that bit there, a little bit there. Let's put some of this up here. This top end's a bit neglected, isn't it? Let's put it that way round. We'll put that little bit of music paper on there. Let me see. Ink this bit up. Sorry. Hoping I keep in camera. I'm hoping the camera doesn't cut out this time. Last year when I did videos it kept cutting out. In there. Let's put some music paper. Oh no, I've got music paper there. So we will add a bit of this, I think. On that one. And what I'm going to do is put some doily there, I think. Oh, doilies are so hard to ink. If anyone knows a good way of inking a doily, do let me know. Let's put a bit of glue on that one. We put that there, and then you can see the print through. And I think I'll put that there. Just tear that bit off. It doesn't take long to do. What takes a while is you need to leave it overnight to dry. I think it's best to leave it overnight to dry. I don't suppose you have to. You could use a hot air gun, but I do get nervous doing these videos. Just filling in the gaps now. Well, any big gaps. Little gaps don't worry me so much. I don't mind bits of the fabric showing through. Someone at the door. Music there. because it doesn't matter that the edges aren't straight, because I'll be cutting it down obviously. I think what I might do is put a bit of doily in this top corner as well, bottom corner, sorry. Don't want to cover that flower too much. Okay, I'll trim. I'm not going to glue all of that because I'll trim that bit off. And yeah, that's generally it. And then just get your glue, go over it, make sure all the edges are glued down, because you don't want anything lifting. Also, if you're doing this with napkins and tissue paper, you've got to be quite gentle with it because you don't want to rip it. With the harder book pages, you can be a bit more robust. You could do this with anything, magazine pages, book pages, tissue paper. I wouldn't suggest using digital papers or images unless you have a laser printer where your ink doesn't run, because otherwise your ink will run and it can turn it kind of pink or funny colours. But some people might like that look, might add to it. It's all art at the end of the day, isn't it? And well, that's it basically. Then you leave that overnight to dry, and the next morning you have this fabric paper, which you can, like I say, sew in, stamp on. And I'm hoping that I can make like a little bag that you can slide a journal in. Hopefully you'll get to see that. But thanks for watching. Please do let me know what you think, because I do get nervous doing these type of videos because it's really new to me, and I do want to try doing more of them this year, but I'm so self-conscious about them and a bit nervous. So please do let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed it. Do comment, like, subscribe, all the usual, and thanks for watching. Bye.